Problem number 1. Inconsistency with other cases of delusion or confusion. If the transgender person is a man who does not believe that he is a woman, but is taking advantage of the cultural situation by calling himself a woman, then he is being evil in stating what he knows to be false in order to gain whatever benefits that are enticing him to calling himself a woman. If, in contrast, the person is a man who is truly confused and sincerely not convinced that he is a biological man, or who is under the sincere delusion that he is a woman, it is still not respectful, kind, or loving to call the man a woman if he claims that he is now a woman. To the contrary, it is harmful to that man to play along with the lie that he is a woman. Calling such participation in a lie gender-affirming care, as advocates of the movement love to do, is the opposite of care. Denial of the truth is denial of care. Not only is it harmful to the confused or deluded person, but acquiescing to the person's delusion is also inconsistent with how we normally and rightfully deal with persons who are confused or deluded about objective realities of their bodies or the world. For an example of how we normally and rightfully deal with such delusion or confusion, we may consider the comparative case of a woman whose anorexia has reduced her to skin and bones, and who yet believes that she is fat and overweight. In that case, we recognize that it is not kind, respectful, or loving to encourage her in the delusion that she is fat. The most kind, respectful, and loving thing to do is to tell her the truth. Help her see that she has a distorted self-perception and is sickly skinny rather than fat, and to try to bring her to a healthy recognition of the reality of her biological condition. Encouraging the mental disorder of anorexia is not loving, and so we rightfully do not encourage the delusion. To be consistent, if a biological man genuinely does not believe that he is a man, or a biological woman does not believe that she is a woman, we also should not encourage that delusion. In such cases, telling the biological man that he is a man, and the biological woman that she is a woman, is the most loving thing to do, and telling them the opposite does real harm to them. Although the preceding comments deal with the hypothetical case of someone who is deluded or confused, it should be recognized that in the great majority of cases, would that be perhaps over 99.99%? Who knows? In the great majority of cases, those who would call themselves transgender really know that they are still a man if they are born a biological man, and still a woman if born a biological woman. Nearly all those in the transgender movement are not deluded about the truth, and are instead evil for advocating what they know to be a lie. The foregoing comments about delusion or confusion are given for the sake of argument, included to show that even if one were to grant the contention that some persons in the movement were confused or deluded rather than liars, it is still not good, kind, or loving to entertain their delusions if they think that they are something different than the biological sex of their birth. When it comes to youth, while the foregoing words are in large part still true, there are often other factors at play, as evidenced by the very high percentage of those youth who grow out of the phase of identifying as transgender. Common sense and the massive rise of youth identifying as trans highlight the reality of social contagion, and of identifying as trans for reasons that have nothing to do with body dysmorphia. Kids often want to be seen as cool or rebellious, and so can identify as trans to look edgy. Kids are sensitive to peer pressure and so conform to the massive pressure to accept or be part of a movement that major cultural forces celebrate. Some kids want help or attention and see trans identification as a way to get noticed or heard. In all these cases, body-mutilating surgery and body-altering hormones or drugs are not the solution, since they do not address the root issue. Even if it were not morally wrong and unloving to encourage them in the lie of trans identification, for most of these root causes, trans identification will not solve the root problem, and even joining the trans community to be seen or heard does not offer attention and community that the youth cannot find in non-trans groups.
Thank you for listening. Credible Faith is a global missions-minded apologetics ministry with content available in 7 different languages across 7 websites: German, Russian, Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and English. If you would like to support the global apologetics work of Credible Faith, go to crediblefaith.org and click on the donate icon. If you would like me to give an apologetics workshop or participate in a debate at your university, or if you would like me to give a Great Commission missions conference or apologetics conference at your church, get in touch with me through the Contact Us section of the Credible Faith website. You can also submit a request through the website to get Credible Faith's monthly email. If you are a native speaker of Russian, German, Italian, French, Spanish, or Portuguese, and if you notice that an essay from the English website is not available on the Credible Faith website for your language, feel free to get in touch with me about translating the essay, and I would read through your translated material for quality control and the desire to see content from the essay made available in your language. Thank you for listening, and have a great night.